Welcome back. Look, if you're watching this right now, I can almost guarantee you are unknowingly losing hours of your workday to hidden manual tasks. And no, unfortunately, a third cup of coffee is not going to fix it. Today, we're breaking down exactly where your time is leaking, and more importantly, we're going to fix it. We aren't talking about vague productivity hacks today either. We're talking about specific, actionable tools that can completely transform how you work.
Think about your current workload for a second. Somewhere in your day or your week right now, there's a frustrating, repetitive task that's eating up, say, 4 hours of your time. You grind through it because, well, it just has to get done, right? But here's the wild part, the part that genuinely blew my mind when I realized it. You likely have absolutely no idea that a tool already exists that was specifically designed to do that exact job for you.
Okay, let's dive into this, because that exact same 4-hour grind, it could literally take you 4 minutes if you knew the exact right tool to pull off the shelf. Today, we're going through a very specific list of AI tools that quietly eliminate the absolute most time-consuming parts of a normal workday. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly where your hours are vanishing and exactly how to get them back.
Section 1. The manual work tax. So, let's talk about why modern work feels so overwhelming. It constantly feels like you're sprinting on a treadmill just to stay in the same place, doesn't it? Well, that comes down to a concept we need to talk about, the invisible tax we pay just to be allowed to do our actual jobs.
Here's a number that you really need to sit with for a second. Studies on knowledge work consistently show that the average office employee spends only about a third of their day doing focused, meaningful work. Just 33%. The rest, a whopping 67%, completely disappears into a black hole of repetitive busy work. We're talking retyping information between systems, staring blankly at spreadsheets, pretending to pay attention on Zoom while writing emails, and sitting in meetings just to take notes. None of that is your actual job. It's just the tax you pay to get in the door.
But the tools on our list today, they exist to totally eliminate that tax. And this is crucial. The goal here isn't to make you a slightly faster typist or more efficient note-taker. The goal is removing the task entirely from your plate. So let's start with the very first major time leak that's probably draining your week.
Section 2. Automating meetings and notes. Let's be real. We all spend way too much time in meetings. But if you're still manually typing out notes during a video call, you're doing a job that a computer already does infinitely better than a human ever could.
Enter tools like Granola and TLDV. These things are absolute game changers. They just sit quietly in the background of your video calls, transcribing and summarizing absolutely everything automatically. But the best part isn't just getting a neat little summary in your inbox. No, the real magic is that you can go back days later and ask a direct question, like, hey, what did Sarah say about the Q3 budget? And get an instant, perfectly accurate answer.
Think about what that actually replaces. The old way was exhausting. You were scrubbing through 40-minute recordings or desperately trying to decode your own messy, handwritten notes just to find one tiny detail. The new way? You instantly have a perfectly searchable memory of every single conversation you've ever had. If you're stuck in back-to-back meetings all week, this alone is going to save you hours. Hours that used to go entirely into basically being a human tape recorder instead of actually thinking.
Section 3. Supercharging your research. Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is that it tackles an even bigger time leak. And the crazy thing is, almost nobody is automating this yet. Let's supercharge your reading.
Historically, digging through long documents, reports, or research papers meant you had to actually read all of it, cover to cover, just crossing your fingers that the one fact you needed was buried in there somewhere. Enter NotebookLM from Google. This completely changes the game. It honestly feels like magic. You upload your own documents, and it builds a completely private AI right then and there. It answers your questions strictly from the sources you gave it, with the exact citations every single time. And crucially, if the answer isn't in your material, it just tells you, instead of hallucinating or guessing.
Compare that to the absolute misery of the old way. You'd skim a 90-page report, cross-reference 3 separate PDFs to verify a stat, and then write up a summary by hand. NotebookLM compresses that entire grueling process into typing one single question and getting a fully sourced answer in seconds. Whether you're a student, an analyst, or just someone drowning in documents, this single tool turns a full afternoon of reading into a 15-minute Q&A session.
Section 4. Code and content creation. Because if you think NotebookLM is a massive time saver, wait until you see the absolute tidal wave of automation hitting software building and content production right now.
Let's break down this powerful tool stack real quick. If you write software,
AI coding tools like Cursor and Claude Code are now writing the boring boilerplate code for you in the background. In video production, OpusClip automatically scrubs your footage and cuts your best moments into shorts. And for presentations, Gamma will build you a fully designed, beautiful deck in minutes. No more wasting hours fighting with awful slide templates.
There's a very clear pattern here. Across all these tools, whether it's code, video, or slides, the repetitive middle step gets completely wiped out. The manual typing, the scrubbing, the formatting, it's all just gone. You're left only doing the part that actually requires human decision-making.
So, we've covered meetings, research, and creation. But let me ask you something. What is the one task that almost absolutely everyone forgets to automate? The hidden leak that is quietly draining your day, 30 seconds at a time. Think about it for a second.
Section 5, the hidden productivity leak. Yep, we're talking about app switching. It's those tiny, repetitive little actions you take moving between different software systems all day long.
This is the domain of Zapier. Zapier is basically the ultimate automation glue. It connects the apps you already use so that repetitive actions just trigger automatically in the background. Someone submits a form, Zapier creates a task for you. A new email comes in, it adds a row to your spreadsheet. You make a sale, it drops a message in your team's Slack. Now, doing any of these by hand maybe takes 30 seconds, but they happen dozens of times a week, constantly ripping your attention away from your actual work. When you multiply those 30-second interruptions across an entire year, you are looking at dozens of hours wasted. You're basically acting as a human copy-paste machine. Actually, scratch that. It's worse. It's zero-judgment work that completely shatters your focus. The old way was moving that information manually. The new way is letting automation instantly absorb all that zero-judgment busy work. That is exactly what this technology was built to do.
Section 6, reclaiming your time. And this brilliantly illustrates the core thesis of our explainer today. Let's bring this all together and see what it really means for you.
Look closely at the thread connecting every single tool we've talked about. Meetings, research, coding, content, app switching. None of these tasks got eliminated because someone just worked harder or chugged an extra gallon of coffee. They vanished because someone handed the repetitive stuff to a dedicated tool, and they kept the part that actually needed a human brain.
The honest math here is incredibly encouraging, by the way. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Honestly, just adopting 2 or 3 of the tools we've covered can literally hand you back several hours a week. That's time you are losing to work that, frankly, never needed a human in the first place.
So, I'm going to leave you with this to think about. Which manual task in your own workflow can you finally stop doing by hand today? Pick one, find the right tool, and take your time back. If this explainer helped you spot a task you can finally automate, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Every week we break down exactly which AI tools are actually worth your time, turning complex tech into clear, actionable insights so you can stay ahead. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.